Is the job search just completely overwhelming you? Yeah, you're not alone. But what if we flipped the script on this whole thing? Instead of looking at it as some miserable chore, let's treat it like a project, a strategic project. And every good project has a roadmap, right? A clear plan with specific phases that guide you to a successful finish. So this is your roadmap, not just to any job, but to the right job. You gotta love this quote from Seneca. No wind blows in favor of a ship without direction. He absolutely nailed it, didn't he? It's so true. Before you even think about touching your resume or scrolling through job sites, you have to know where you're going. A better job just isn't a destination. So if there's one thing you take away today, it's this. A successful search starts with a super clear, super specific goal.
Okay, so let's get one thing straight. The old career playbook, you can pretty much throw it out the window. We're living in what some experts are calling a Banny world now. That's brittle, anxious, nonlinear, and incomprehensible. Sounds fun, right? But here's the twist. All that chaos is actually a huge opportunity. Because when things are messy, the people with a clear strategy don't just get by, they get ahead.
So that brings us to phase 1. This is where we build your project blueprint. Think of this as the foundation for everything else we're going to do. It's all about that deep dive, that self-reflection to figure out what you truly want so you can aim for a very precise target.
Okay, but how do you actually find that perfect target? Well, it boils down to this really cool framework called the Joy Money Flow model. It's about finding that sweet spot where 3 things come together. You've got joy, work you actually, enjoy doing. Money, it's got to pay the bills, right? And flow, that's when you're in the zone, using your best skills and time just flies by. Your perfect job, it's right there in the middle, where all 3 of those circles overlap.
Now that model is great, but it's a little abstract. So how do we make it real? That's where this comes in, the Career Bullseye Worksheet. This is where you get super specific. We're talking target industry, the exact department, the job title. You're even going to list 20+ companies you'd love to work for, right down to the city and the salary. And just like that, your dream job isn't a dream anymore. It's a set of coordinates on a map.
All right, target acquired. Now we're moving on to phase 2, building your toolkit. And the number 1 tool in that kit? Your resume, of course. But here's the thing about modern resumes. You're not just writing it for a person anymore. You actually have to impress 2 very different audiences. A human and a robot. So let me introduce you to that robot. It's called an Applicant Tracking System, or ATS for short. This is the software that acts as the first gatekeeper. It scans, sorts, and filters every application that comes in, way before a human ever lays eyes on it.
And you might be thinking, okay, but how common are these things really? Get this, 98.8%, almost 99% of Fortune 500 companies use an ATS. Just let that sink in for a second. It means if your resume can't get past the robot, you're pretty much invisible. It's a non-starter.
So you're basically writing a document with 2 personalities. For the human recruiter, you need a story, you need killer arguments, you need to showcase your biggest wins. But for the machine, it wants something totally different. A simple format, no fancy columns or tables, and it's hunting for specific keywords it can match to the job description. Your job is to create one resume that makes them both happy. So how do you impress the human? You have to show your impact. Don't just list what you did, show what you achieved. And the XYZ formula is your secret weapon here. It's so simple. Achieved X as measured by Y by doing Z. Instead of saying manage project workflow, you say reduce project launch times by 50% by implementing a new approval system. See the difference? It's huge.
And here's a pro tip. You don't have to brainstorm these all by yourself. Lean on AI. You can literally feed it your boring old job responsibilities and ask it to transform them into powerful, quantified achievements using that XYZ formula. It's like having a free writing coach right at your fingertips.
Okay, we've got our target, we've got our superpowered resume. Now it's time for the fun part. Phase 3, launching your campaign. And this is where we stop playing defense, endlessly clicking apply, and start playing offense.
The whole strategy is built on the 80-20 rule, but maybe not the way you're used to it. We're going to spend just 20% of our time on those online applications. The other 80%, the lion's share, is going into proactive networking. We're talking to actual people to find those hidden jobs, the ones that never even make it to a job board. So what does that actually look like day to day?
It's pretty straightforward. First, you pull out that bullseye list of your 20 target companies. Then, you hop on LinkedIn and find people who work there. Maybe it's someone who went to your school, a recruiter, a hiring manager. And here's the most important part. You send them a personalized note and ask for a quick 15-minute chat to get their insights. You are not asking for a job.
And I know what you're thinking. What on earth do I say? Don't sweat it. Here's a super simple, non-scary script you can adapt. It's friendly, it finds some common ground, and the request is small and easy to say yes to. You'd be surprised how willing people are to help when you approach them like this.
Success. All that proactive work paid off, and you've landed the interview. Awesome. Now we're in phase 4, making your pitch. This is your moment to shine, to connect the dots and show them why you're the absolute best person for this role. You know those questions, tell me about a time when, they can be tough. But there's a framework that makes them so much easier. It's called the STAR method, and it's your best friend in an interview. It gives you a structure, situation, task, action, and result to turn a rambling answer into a tight, compelling story that actually proves your skills. So let's put it to the test. Imagine the interviewer leans in and asks that classic question. Tell me about a time you faced a major obstacle on a project. A weak answer could sink you, but with STAR, we can craft something amazing. First up, the S and the T, situation and task. You paint the picture. For instance, the situation was our main venue for a 300-person conference canceled on us just 1 week before the event due to a fire. Yikes. My task was to find a new venue like yesterday and do it with an even smaller budget. Right away, the interviewer understands the challenge.
Then you move to the A, action. This is all about what you did. I immediately researched new venues. I renegotiated with caterers. I even got a discount for next year's event from the original venue. And then you land the punchline, the R for result. The conference went off without a hitch, and we actually saved the company money over 2 years. Now that's an answer. So how do you get this smooth? You practice. And guess what? You can use AI for this too. Turn it into your own personal interview coach. Just give it a prompt like, act as an interview coach for a product manager role. Ask me tough behavioral questions and give me feedback on my STAR answers. It's an incredible way to prep.
So, you did it. You ran the project. You nailed the interview. You got the job. That's fantastic. But the project isn't really over. The final and maybe the most crucial phase is understanding that managing your career is a project that never really ends.
Here's a really interesting thought experiment I want you to try. Once a year, in your head, I want you to resign from your job. Just quit. Make that your default setting. Then you have to consciously decide to stay. You have to ask yourself, is this still the best path for me? Would I fight to get this job back? It's a powerful way to make sure you're always in the driver's seat of your career, not just coasting.
And really, that's what this whole project is about. It's about taking back control. It's about being strategic and intentional with your career. So as we wrap up, I'll leave you with this quote from Steve Martin. He said, "Be so good they can't ignore you." Now go out there and do just that.